Is anybody else tired of living in the matrix? Like you've woken up to all of these systems and unlearned beliefs and can see right through people and like you just you're in the in between of like wanting to live somewhere else and do other things and maybe be away from people and grow your own food and stuff like that, but like you can't. You have to keep playing the game. You have to keep working the system that the world, forces upon us. Or maybe like you're me and you're trying to find a way to make it and you're tired of needing money to survive. Because that's kind of where I'm at. And I've always kind of felt like alone in this world, meaning I feel like I think at such a higher level that, and not intellectually, like just out of the ordinary, like out of the matrix thinking. And I'm somebody who obsesses over constantly learning about myself, about psychology, about mental health, about how the world works, about consciousness, about spirituality. Um, I'm just unlearning a lot of these beliefs, and I've had a lot of spiritual awakenings and epiphanies and whatever you want to call them that have just made me realize like I probably don't think like a lot of the people at least I know in this world, and I'm starting to find people online that are a little more like-minded, and it's very very assuring. But I've never really just like voiced my thoughts and opinions and where I'm at with how I think about things. And I felt like making a video was a good opportunity for it. So if you're used to my videos having some kind of advice, this video is probably not going to be like that. This is kind of just like, I don't know if I'm venting or just trying to find like minded people. And if somebody else feels this way or has been through this, um, or is on a journey of, higher consciousness and all that. Um, my last video was about money beliefs. So that's a part of it. There's like so many layers to this stuff that it's so hard for me to process and understand to be able to voice it. So I feel like to some people, a lot of it's not going to make sense. And, in the past, like if I have tried to talk about this, I get called crazy or unrealistic. And I'm like learning that, maybe these things were placed in my head because I was the chosen one to break the cycle and to think this way and to learn a new way of thinking and a new way of living and to break, generational curses and stuff like that. So a lot of people in my life like aren't going to understand that. Um, and being on social media, I've come across a lot of people that do think this way. So I feel like I am more comfortable to share it and talk about it. It's actually really funny because I wanted to record this video yesterday because I woke up and I was like spicy. I was so passionate. And what I do a lot is I sit by myself and I stare out the window and I just get into like a flow state and I have a conversation with myself or a conversation with God or I have makeup conversations with people. Like I just get into some kind of, I don't know, flow state or whatever you want to call it. But I was going at it. Like I was pretending like I was making a video and then I was like thinking, would this be a good idea for a video? And then I was like, I was so just hyped up over this. And I was gonna go make the video and the lawn care people showed up. So they had like a dozen lawn mowers going and I was like, well, oh well. And then today I don't have the car, so that's why I'm here. But it's supposed to rain for like the next week. And I don't know. I just decided, you know what? Let's just sit down, have a conversation. Let's just get it out and go from there. So if you've watched all of my other YouTube videos, I kind of talk about this individually, but For the last 5 years, I've been on this journey since I left a narcissist relationship and I got sober. And I've just really been focused on healing myself. And I got off of 6 different medications that I was prescribed in rehab. And I just made it a point to learn how to heal myself, to learn everything about myself, how I think, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, what makes me angry, being patient with myself, letting myself rest when I need to, just really getting to know myself and having like the most self awareness I've ever had in my life. And these days, I think it's become kind of an obsession to the point where like I don't like to watch anything, um, listen to anything, read anything. I don't like to get into the whole doom scrolling thing unless it's something that is teaching me, inspiring me, motivating me. Like I have to gain some kind of deep inner knowledge or passion or feeling or something whenever I'm listening to anything or watching anything. Like I'm sorry, I love animals, but like by the 10,000th cat video, you're like, what am I doing here? Anyway, some of you know that I've been trying to manifest a house because when I got sober, I had to temporarily rehome my pet pig. And I thought I was only going to be in my apartment for 6 months. Now it's been 5 years, and I've gone through a lot of things since then, losing my job, becoming an entrepreneur, losing my business, my boyfriend losing his job, and then losing our car, and now we're here. So I'm learning that I have been maybe a little impatient, is what I've come to terms with. And maybe that's where this, you know, hyped up energy came from yesterday. For so long, for the last like over the last 5 years, like the first 3 or 4 years, I was so hyper fixated on feeling like I was, a mother in a custody battle, like trying to get my pig back and feeling inadequate and having a lot of fear and doubt. And, all of that on top of, getting sober and learning how to live sober and starting a whole brand new life and navigating it on my own and then losing my job and having to find a way to make money. I've been so fixated on like just wanting to get a house to the point where like that was my goal and that was my end goal. I didn't see anything past like I just want this. And what I've learned from that is like, sure, when I do get the house, there's going to be something else after that. There's always going to be something more, something else that life brings up that we feel like we will need. So I thought that I was trying to unlearn the belief of being materialistic. So I made a video about that last when I lost everything, what I learned from that. And it's like I feel like I've been subconsciously feeling like if I learned all of these lessons, if I, gained all of that knowledge, then suddenly I would get my manifestation, which is my house in this case. And I guess I'm getting a little frustrated because I'm in the in between of not wanting to live in the matrix, but not being able to live, exactly how I want. And it all being from needing money. And so the way I think is, I don't really believe in a lot of stuff that the world does. Like, I believe that our food is being poisoned to keep us sick so that we go to the doctors and pay them um, for medications, and then we're lifelong patients and we keep money in their pockets. And, like, I've gone down my conspiracy rabbit hole, I've gone down, all of this stuff. And I'm just so frustrated with, like, if money wasn't an object, what would I be doing? And thinking about that and trying to manifest that and then trying to think, how can I get there? And it's like, there's not much you can do when you have bills put in your face or maybe an eviction notice or your electric gets shut off. And like, I've been in all those places and there's nothing that you can just snap your fingers, manifest, change your mindset real quick and like have it paid. Like, you still got to put in the work and you got to do your part too. So I think part of my obsession with trying to heal myself and learn about myself and become my best version of myself every day, my only competition is the person I was yesterday. That's literally what I live by. So I'm learning and getting more, having more of a relationship with God. And I believe that his timing is perfect. He is perfect. There's a reason why things don't work out or things do work out, and when they work out and when they don't. And I'm really practicing having trust and faith and actually fully believing that, like for the first time, not just saying it. But I look more inward because I know that the only thing that I can control is myself. So it's like that hyper vigilant or obsessive, like, need to want to better myself and work on myself because it must be a problem with me. Maybe I have something more to unlearn. Maybe I have, um, a character defect that I need to work on, or maybe I haven't fully learned the value of something yet, or, I'm trying to figure out and have these conversations with God, like, what do you need me to do next? And, I wrestled with him over my own fear and doubt for a while of like getting a real job or continuing being an entrepreneur and nobody understanding why I feel that way. And then making my first $30,000 online by myself, like, seriously fueled me and taught me that I can do it. And then I lost it and I had to start all over again. And I'm still in that process now. But I know that these thoughts, feelings, and desires have been placed in my mind. I just haven't figured out exactly how to make it work yet. Because again, if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I used to be a workaholic and a perfectionist, and I used to just, blow my money. And I feel like, this last year or two, I've really been humbled by God and learning the lesson of, necessities and what the true value of life is, and not identifying with anything outside of myself, but finding my true self. And I've really come to that place of absolute inner peace. And it's like, I wish that everybody could feel that. And I want to help people get to that place, but I also know that I can't fix everyone. And that is something that I've definitely grown out of. I used to be, the person that would attract broken wings because I would want to try to fix them, and it never got me anywhere. It got me in a lot of crappy situations, and I never filled my cup first, and so I try to make sure that I put myself first so I'm able to then help others as well. But there's some kind of disconnect there, and I don't know if it's just because I think differently, but like, it's so much more than just not liking surface level conversation, because that's where this all started. Like, I started to realize that I don't like watching just mind numbing reels and stuff, but I also don't like having just surface level conversation all the time. It's like I want to have deep conversation that I can learn from or that I can relate to somebody with, and I can talk more about, deeper topics of personal development and what you've been through and what you've learned from it, and um, inspiring others and helping people on their journeys wherever they're at. So I've been learning about like manifestation and spirituality and all these things and consciousness, and reading like The Power of Now and all these books and videos and everything, and I'm still not getting what I want is the house. So I'm trying to realize, like, okay, maybe it's not the house I want, it's the feeling that I want. So I'm trying to put myself in that energy, right? And I feel like I'm doing all these things that I'm learning about and I'm still not getting it. And then I feel guilty because I feel like I'm being ungrateful, because I know that God's timing is perfect and I know that he's working behind the scenes, and there's things that I don't know about that are either outside of me or things that I don't know about that are inside of me. Like, I don't know what my next lesson is going to be. I don't know, because we're always changing, we're always evolving. Like, I'm never going to sit here and pretend like I know everything or I've passed every test and I'm, perfect. Like, that's not the goal. That's why it's manifestation in progress. Practice makes progress. That's my motto. So, like, this past week, at church, they started a new series about money and finances and trusting God and having debt and all that. And it like really hits home because that is what I feel like my biggest struggle is, because I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was going to get my house by making my own money because I was learning so much and I became so obsessed with learning about ways to make money online. I've done everything. I've tried everything. I didn't do anything unless it was bringing in money or learning about money. I've gone down that rabbit hole and then it was taken away from me. And like, I did what I had to do. I had to go get another job and, I'm still working Instacart and then I'm still doing, everything on social media. And I talk about how I'm not chasing money with the social media. And I know that's my purpose. And I know that number one, it may not happen and that's okay. That's not the purpose of this. And number two, if it happens, it may not be enough and it may not happen in the time frame that I want it to. It might take 5, 10 plus years. Who knows? But I'm not putting my all into an obsessive way like that with this, trying to make it work. So I feel like it's going to be longer lasting and sustainable when and if it does, make me money. But I'm doing what I have to do. And I talked about how I feel like this job was perfectly aligned and a compromise between, the matrix and self employed working. And, it's like I didn't go and try to get another job. I applied for more corporate jobs. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And when I had literally nothing, collecting change in parking lots, I was doing everything and anything I possibly could. Like, I had a few interviews, it didn't work out. So then I was questioning God, like, if you wanted me to go get a job, then wouldn't you bring me an opportunity? Wouldn't you have, one of these jobs accept me? Like, why are you not bringing me? That was for me for like 2, 3 years. And then after those couple of years of like wrestling with, hearing outside voices saying, you got to get a job, you got to get a job, you got a job, and then having bills in my face, and then me questioning, like, but I want to be an entrepreneur, but I have to be realistic and I have to work in the matrix and I have to do this, I have to play the game. And then, no opportunities are coming. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm trying my best here, God. And then it's like, but I'm not trying to question him because I know that what he's doing is perfect, even if I don't understand it. And then that's when I start to question myself because that's what I can control. So it's like, what am I doing wrong? Am I lazy? Am I not doing enough? Um, all these doubts and worries and fears and stuff start to build in your mind, and it feels so heavy. And that's what I went through for a couple of years. And I'm still honestly going through, but I'm changing my mindset around it. And you know, I'm giving myself affirmations of I am doing enough. I am doing what I can. I'm doing the best I can. I'm managing, my anxiety. I'm resting and knowing that it's productive. I'm not trying to be a workaholic, obsessive over making money. I'm trusting for the first time. I'm really trusting and seeing little blessings that God sends me and being appreciative and grateful for everything. But sometimes it just gets to a point where I'm exhausted. Like, I've been really trying to make whatever this dream is work. Like, I don't know the how, I just know the what. Like, I just want a house that I can bring my pig home to. I just want to know that my bills are going to be paid on time without worry, without having to count every penny, without knowing how much my next paycheck's going to be, if it's going to be enough. Like, I'm getting exhausted by that. And I think I'm maybe starting to shed that cycle, like one foot in my next life. I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try. Yeah, me too. Sorry. But anyway, it's like I have one foot in my next life and one foot out. And it's like I don't want to fall into the matrix and be what I feel like is a zombie and having surface level conversation and shrinking myself. And then I thought it was like my money beliefs. Maybe I had to fix that. And maybe if I fixed all these things, I would be in a new world, or I can be in my own world, or I can get my manifestation. Because the dream is to be able to wake up every day, do what I want to do, go where I want to go, have no worries, have no fear, know that I'm financially secure, because you have to have finances. And in a perfect world, I wouldn't have money at all. I would have some kind of barter system, or like everybody on that property, like somebody does the vegetables, somebody does the fruits, somebody collects the rainwater, somebody, like, and then we all thrive and share off each other, and whatever. That would be a perfect world, but I don't think that's how the world is ever going to be. So just in some way, shape, or form, financially secure. And sometimes I get jealous of people that like have always known what they want to do from like a young age, and then they go to college or they go and they do it, whatever it is. And I've never really been that way. Like, I grew up with my family owning a small business, so I guess that's kind of where I get a little bit of my entrepreneur spirit from. And then I thought I wanted to be a marine biologist until I popped a hole through my eardrum and I can't swim underwater anymore. And I actually did start to go to college for that, because I was like, maybe I'll just be somebody in the labs that, but I wanted to do something hands on. So I was like, I don't really know. And then that's when my parents divorced and I moved states and I had to move colleges and change career, um, change my major and all that. So that kind of just, I don't know. I ended up getting a degree in business management. So I figured maybe, with that degree, I could start my own business, which I did. And, maybe that was how I was going to get my house. But I always say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, because that 6 months that I thought I was going to be here and then have a house and have everything I wanted and live my best life, nope. And that's okay. I'm not mad at him. I'm learning, and it's all about the journey. It's not about the prize, the destination, the house. And it's like I know all that and I have all this knowledge, but I'm still human and I get frustrated and I get impatient. And that's where I ask God for forgiveness. If I'm thinking wrong or doing wrong or speaking wrong, like, correct me and forgive me. But at least I'm honest with how I feel, and I'm honest with my thoughts, and I'm very self aware. So I'm able to reflect and, learn more of how I think and why I say things and why I do things and try to do better. That's what it's all about for me. I've become so hyper vigilant on like making sure that we fill the trash bags to the very top to make sure that we use them. I don't like wasting food. Like yesterday, I went to go cook chicken and it smelled bad. So I had to throw it out. And I was like so upset, because that feels like a waste of money. It feels like a waste of food. It feels like in some way I failed and I'm not doing enough to save enough to make sure that my needs are met. Like, I just got to a point where I was so frustrated yesterday and said, I'm just done living in this world. Like, I never felt like I belong in this world. I wish I could just go buy more chicken and it not be a problem. And now, we're out a meal for the night, for the week. We don't get paid for another 2 weeks. Like, what are we going to eat? And like, we have stuff, but like, that worry, that fear of like lack and not enough. And I don't want to keep replaying that cycle. So I'm trying to rewire my brain, and that's what I'm in like the in between and processing how to have a more abundant mindset so that can start being my new story, because I don't want to keep living like this. And I'm getting frustrated with how, like, if money wasn't an object, what could I be doing? I could be out helping other people. I could be out blessing other people. I could be out, making sure my kids, my future kids are set up and will have a good childhood, because I think that's one of the fears that I don't want to have kids yet, is because I don't have the finances to support myself, let alone a kid. I fear that I'll get to like another 5 years and still not have kids, and then I'm getting older at that point, and it's like I want to change my life now. And I feel like anybody that doesn't understand this way of thinking is just going to say, oh, well, go get another job. Like, stop being lazy. And then that's another thing. Like, I feel like people older than me group me into the new age of like people that don't have a work ethic and they're lazy, and the people that work at fast food don't know what they're doing, and like all this new technology, and like, oh, you're a YouTuber and a TikToker, and like all these people that don't understand the dream. They don't see the goal, the passion. They don't resonate with this. That dream wasn't placed in their mind. They don't understand. And I let that control me and affect me for so long. But within the past year, I've really let go of that and released that and realized that, this is my passion. This is what I'm going for. And it might not work out. Who knows? But it's what I'm enjoying doing, and I'm not letting anybody else get to decide that for me. Again, that's why my name is Manifestation in Progress, because I'm documenting my journey of, you know, what I'm going through and how I want to get to where I want to be. I'm also talking about how I got to this point and what I've learned and trying to inspire and help others. I don't know how long this is getting, but that's kind of summarizes a little bit of what I've been kind of thinking about the last couple days. I feel like maybe the video needed me to have a clearer, calmer mind because I was cussing up a storm and I was just very spicy and heated and fired up yesterday. And that's probably not how the video was supposed to be. But I feel like I'm also like, if you follow the chakras, like I'm really opening up my throat chakra and being able to speak and being comfortable. Every video that I do, I get more comfortable on camera, and I'm starting to really, might be the obsessive part of me again, but I'm really doing a lot of self reflection and going through, more spiritual shifts and everything recently. And just, I don't know, I feel comfortable opening up, and I really want to be able to look back on videos like this at a later time and be like, wow, that's what I was thinking, and that's what I was feeling, and that's what I was going through, and look at where I'm at now. And I like to think that I'm in a better place and, have some more of it figured out by then. But I love my life. I love myself. I love getting to know myself. But the parts where I still struggle is getting anxious over money. Everything is about money, and I'm getting very frustrated with the fact that I already got out of survival mode with, my past relationship and my dad, and getting sober and starting a whole new life and like going through that. Like, I thought I got out of survival mode, and I feel like I'm going down this checklist of like, what are my next problems or blockages that I need to work on, and it's always money. Anytime I'm mad, it's money. Anytime I'm upset, it's money. And I'm trying to really work on that, and it starts with your mindset and your beliefs, and that's what's worked for every other problem and blockage I've had. So, I'm in that process, and I feel like I'm also allowing myself to be human and talk about it, because even if I know all of this knowledge, I still have human emotions and human feelings. And again, that's why I be patient with myself, and I go, you're being honest. Maybe some things you can try to work on, or if you see a pattern of a way you're thinking, try to change that pattern. But I'm just so constantly into thinking and catching what I say and allowing me to just live the best life I possibly can with what I have and being grateful for what I have, knowing that it could always be worse, but knowing that I am on my way to my dream life, getting to where I want to be. And I really do appreciate the journey, because if we just got everything that we wanted at the snap of our fingers, we wouldn't ever appreciate it. But again, as a human, I can be impatient. But that's okay, because this life is a journey. It's going to ebb and flow, and, temporary feelings come up, and we can always learn from it. And like I said, I'm just trying to be better than the person I was yesterday. And maybe the person yesterday just needed to get that off her chest. And the person today is able to be calm about it and, reflect on it and come at it from a more stable mind. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe for more. If you're interested more about my journey, I have dozens of videos about various topics, and they will be at the end of this video if you want to go check them out. And if you relate to any of this, please let me know in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, also, I appreciate you because I don't know where this video was going. I was just kind of like, hey, I'm going to come on and talk. And I don't know if I have any like grand old advice, but I feel like it's important to document every kind of video and thought that I have. So until next time, remember to stay kind to yourself. I love you, and I'm so, so proud of you. I'll see you in the next one.